Hello, is this Catherine? Can you come over for a bit? It was a call from Michelle, my husband's younger sister. She sounded panicked, really on edge. Michelle's house was just a short walk away. I've got it. I'll head over right now. When I arrived at Michelle's, she led me to a room that was buzzing with bees. What the heck is this? I opened a cardboard box and they came flying out. We need to call Michelle's husband, Bob. He's at the coffee shop, I said and dialed him up. Talking in a room full of bees seemed like a bad idea, so Michelle and I stepped outside. The three of us gathered on the front porch. So, Michelle, why do you have that box of bees in your house? I don't know. I just picked it up because it was left in front of my house. That can't be. That box was sent to me from my daughter, Emily. My name's Catherine Jones, a 65-year-old who works part-time at a local supermarket. One thing that hasn't changed since I was a kid is my love for stuffed animals and teddy bears. Growing up, we didn't have much money, so I couldn't often get stuffed animals or teddy bears. But now that I'm an adult, every time I travel or go out, I buy a teddy bear. Collecting them has become my joy. My husband, Larry Jones, who works at the town city hall, indulges this childlike hobby of mine. About a year ago, there was a teddy bear I desperately wanted. A limited edition online item, a collaboration between a popular brand and character. However, I had never shopped online and was about to give up on getting it. That's when I talked to Larry about it. Leave the online shopping to me. We've started ordering things online at my workplace. Really? Yes. So, I'll order it for you. Oh, Larry, you're always so reliable. Thank you. With that, Larry promptly took out his laptop and showed me how to order, helping me through the process. Whenever I had troubles, Larry was always there to help. After that, I began to order everything online, from daily necessities and groceries to even teddy bears. Around December of that year, the supermarket I worked at entered its busiest season. Being experienced at the job, I started working almost every day. With that, I had limited time to pick up items I'd ordered online. Larry was even busier. Because of this, I decided to reconsider how I received my deliveries. Recently, I learned about a service that allows packages to be left by the front door even if no one is home. Since then, I've been primarily using this option for my deliveries. Just the other day, while I was on break at work, I received an email notification that my package had been delivered. This was nothing new. I'd received similar emails many times before. However, when I got home later, something seemed off. As I entered my house's gate and approached the door, I glanced around but couldn't find the package in its usual spot. Puzzled, I stepped back outside the gate. Strange, I muttered, hearing the sound of crows in the sunset-colored sky. Larry hadn't returned from work yet, but he should be home soon with dinner to prepare. So I put the delivery issue aside and went inside to start cooking. As I focused on preparing dinner, I completely forgot about the missing package. The next few days were busy with house chores and work, and I didn't find the time to address the undelivered package. Then, one Sunday morning, while watching the news, Larry mentioned, "I'm in the mood for that omelette from the cafe." Larry was referring to a cafe owned by his sister Michelle and her husband Bob, who was the chef there. Since both of us had a rare day off, we decided on a whim to visit that cafe. "Would you like to go to that cafe?" Larry asked. "That sounds good. Let's go," I agreed. Although we call it our favorite spot, we only visit about once a month, usually when one of us expresses a desire to go. This is because Bob's omelettes are exceptional and one of Larry's favorite dishes. The cafe was just around the corner from our house. Under a cloudless blue sky, we walked towards it. Upon opening the cafe door, a metal doorbell jingled. "Welcome." "Hey, here you are. Thanks for coming in. Please take a seat at the counter," Michelle greeted us. We were guided to seats right in front of the kitchen counter. Well, both of you together. How are y'all doing?" Bob asked cheerfully. "As always, we're doing well," Larry replied. Even though there were only 4 people inside, the atmosphere felt bustling. I love this cheerful vibe. This place is wonderful, I thought. Bob, can we get two of the usual? Larry asked. Leave it to me, Bob replied. Bob skillfully cracked and whisked 4 eggs, poured them onto a pan, shaped them, and served them onto 2 plates. Lastly, he added some Italian parsley and passed them to Michelle. Here you go, 2 servings of omelettes. This is so delicious, Larry remarked. I've had it many times and I always crave it. After we finished eating, we were served coffee. This dish is always so tasty, isn't it? Thank you, I said appreciatively. With that, Michelle sat across the counter facing me. That's when I noticed something. Michelle was wearing earrings that looked just like the ones I had ordered online. Michelle, those earrings are so cute. Where did you get them? I asked. Michelle smiled and replied, Oh, really? Thank you. I got them online. Yeah, online shopping sure is handy, I commented. Yep, that's right. But when I'm running this cafe all the time, I hardly get back home during the day. I don't even have time to receive packages, Michelle explained. Well, how about asking to have your packages left by the door? I suggested to Michelle. Michelle looked a bit surprised and asked, Is there such a thing? At that point, I decided to explain the concept of the service in detail, recalling and sharing my own experiences with it at home. It's a good service, but sometimes there are mistakes. There have been a few instances where I haven't received my packages, even though I've paid for them. I really should call the courier company about it. But I just haven't had the time, I explained. Michelle responded empathetically. Oh, I see. So that happens. I took this moment to check the status of my packages to be delivered. At the top of the list, the limited edition teddy bear I ordered was shown as preparing for shipment. I pointed it out to Michelle and said, Look, Michelle, it says it hasn't been delivered yet. Then I pointed to the second item, which read delivered. It was a cosmetic product. This should have already arrived at my place, but it hasn't. That's strange, I remarked. I hope you find it, Michelle said. At that moment, I looked over at Larry. He and his friends were having a different conversation, but soon joined in on our topic. Well, guess we should just wait for it to be delivered someday, Larry said with a carefree smile. Larry's always been such a laid-back guy. He doesn't seem to take things too seriously. We continued our casual chat for a while before leaving the cafe. On the way home, I impulsively checked the delivery history on my smartphone. Nothing had changed. Most of the packages were marked as delivered. I wondered why it hadn't arrived and thought of various possible reasons. Maybe the local post office was holding it, or it got delivered to the wrong house. I was pretty sure no one in my neighborhood would just take a package left outside someone else's door. Right now, I was mostly concerned about whether that limited edition teddy bear would be delivered as promised. Whether or not I pursued the issue would depend on if that teddy bear arrived. That's what I was thinking to myself. 2 days had passed since I went to the coffee shop. Right after work, I eagerly checked my smartphone. At last, the delivery status of the limited edition teddy bear I had been longing for read delivered. I quickly changed out of my work clothes and started to walk home faster. Once home, I looked for the package, but I couldn't find a box anywhere. I still hadn't figured out why the package hadn't arrived at my place, and I was getting pretty frustrated. Up until now, the only items that hadn't been delivered were cosmetics and condiments, so I wasn't in a rush. But this time was different. The teddy bear I had been eagerly waiting for, which was supposed to be part of my collection, hadn't arrived. I decided to get to the bottom of this. That evening, I talked to Larry. I didn't receive the teddy bear that was supposed to arrive today, I told him. That's bad. How many times has this happened now? Larry asked. Probably about 3 times. Something's not right, I replied. Oh, I'm gonna call the post office now. Let's do that, Larry suggested. I called the nearest post office, but as expected, there was no good news. The delivery man answered the call. I can't find the package you said you left at the door, he informed me. Really? I'm sure I left it right in front of your door. I thought maybe you still had it. What's going on? I asked. Well, there's a possibility someone stole it. You might want to file a police report, the delivery man suggested. Thanks. I'll think about it, I replied. Both of our spirits seemed to sink. For some reason, I felt sorry for the delivery man too. Even if I wanted to file a theft report, I didn't have any solid proof and was hesitant. That's when Larry said, "Let's ask Emily. She might know a solution." Emily is our daughter, who turned 40 this year. Now she's married and living in her husband's house, seemingly swamped with chores and work every day. Thinking it might be easier to discuss with my daughter Emily, I decided to ask her for advice. "Hello, Emily. I've been having an issue for the past month. Packages I've been expecting haven't been arriving," I explained. Emily chuckled a bit and then came up with a wild suggestion. "I'm going to send over a box of bees. If we leave it out for delivery, maybe we can catch the thief red-handed when they open it. What do you think?" To be honest, the idea seemed way too bold, but it might be worth a try. "Can you really do that?" "Don't worry about it. We have a huge swarm of bees back home, and this might just help us catch the culprit quickly," Emily reassured me. I was skeptical but hopeful, so I waited for the bee-filled package. A few days later, after work, I checked my phone and saw that the anticipated delivery had been made. When I got home, just like always, the package was nowhere to be found. I wasn't sure if this was a good or bad sign, but there was nothing I could do about it. Honestly, I was about to give up. At that moment, my smartphone buzzed. It was a call from Michelle. "Hello, Catherine. Can you come over for a bit?" Michelle's voice sounded urgent, almost panicky. "Sure, I'll be right there." When I got to Michelle's house, she led me to her room, and to my surprise, the room was filled with bees flying everywhere. "Oh my gosh, what happened?" I exclaimed. "When I opened this box, this is what I found inside," Michelle explained. First, I was shocked to find bees buzzing all around the room, and even more shocked to find out that Michelle was the culprit. I thought I should call Bob, who should be at the coffee shop, so I dialed his number, thinking it'd be difficult to discuss in a room full of bees. Michelle and I stepped outside. The three of us gathered at the front door. I then asked Michelle, "So, Michelle, any idea why there's a box of bees in this house?" "I have no clue. I just picked it up and opened the box that was outside," Michelle replied. "That can't be right. That box was sent to me from my daughter, Emily," I pointed out. "I told you I don't know," Michelle insisted. "Michelle, did you steal it?" I asked. "No, I didn't. I swear." Michelle raised her voice. "If you say you didn't, mind if I take a look inside? Maybe other stolen stuff might pop out," I suggested. "No way. Let me check the room quickly," Michelle said, not letting me enter. I had no choice but to wait outside. As I was explaining to Bob about my missing packages possibly being stolen, we heard Michelle scream. She probably got stung by a bee in her panic. Michelle came out looking disheveled and said, "The room's a mess with those bees flying around, so I'd appreciate it if you'd head home for today." She indicated that she wouldn't be letting anyone in her room because of the bees. Then, an unfamiliar person approached us. It was a beekeeper named Oliver, a friend of Emily's who lived nearby. After a quick introduction, Oliver said, "Emily asked me to help with the bee situation. Is it okay if I handle it here?" "Yes, please. We'd appreciate it," I replied. While Michelle was flustered, Bob and I let Oliver inside the house. While waiting for the bees to be collected, we continued talking outside. "I guess we'll be able to check the room today," Bob remarked. "But I've only got stuff I bought." "There's no point in checking," Michelle suddenly asserted, clearly intending to insist that everything in there was hers. 30 minutes later, Oliver completed collecting 900 honeybees. Shocked by the sheer number of bees, the three of us entered the room. I took a quick look around and then started searching every corner. To my surprise, I found daily necessities like fabric softener and cosmetics I had ordered, scattered here and there. "So you've been taking all of these too, huh?" I confronted Michelle. "No, I told you." Michelle began, but I showed her the order history on my phone with those products listed. "You still better deny this," I asked. Well, there's a chance we just bought the same things, right? Michelle replied, slightly exasperated. I didn't give up. I continued searching for the teddy bear, and near the edge of the sofa, I found a familiar-looking teddy bear. Is this teddy bear also one you bought? I questioned Michelle. Yes, Michelle replied. I knew this teddy bear was a limited edition, and each had its own serial number. So I checked the number for my teddy bear on my phone and compared it to the number on this one. Both had the same 5-digit number. This teddy bear is mine. See, it has the same number. I showed it to Michelle and Bob. I didn't know modern stuffed animals could do that, Bob muttered, while Michelle just sat on the sofa and looked down silently. So it was you who was stealing from her house every time? I asked Michelle. Yes. Michelle's voice grew heavy. What did you take? You haven't been using them all this time, have you? I pressed further. I used a bit of the toner and some imported seasonings, Michelle confessed. Why would you do something like that? More than being angry about having things stolen, I wanted to know her motive. I was out of money. The amount I was spending exceeded what I had, that's all, Michelle explained. But why spend so much? What did you spend it on? I probed. Well, Michelle's words faltered, and she seemed hesitant to talk about it. Suddenly, Bob moved quickly and picked up a piece of paper that had fallen under the couch. Hey, what's this? Don't tell me you've been. Bob trailed off, showing us a piece of paper with numbers and an amount. I'm sorry, I got really into it, Michelle admitted. The paper Bob showed was a horse racing ticket. It turned out that Michelle had gotten heavily into horse racing and used the money she saved by using my stolen items on bets. Then Bob dropped another bombshell. You didn't by chance take money from our cafe's earnings, did you? Just a little bit, Michelle confessed. I knew something was off with the profits. How could you? Bob was clearly upset. It turned out she had embezzled tens of thousands of dollars from their cafe. I'm so sorry. I promise I won't do anything like this again. Please forgive me, Michelle cried loudly, apologizing. But for me, having my cherished teddy bear stolen even once was unforgivable. Her apologies did nothing to move my heart. Bob looked equally irritated. Turns out she had embezzled tens of thousands of dollars from their cafe, I informed Bob. Shall we meet in court? Bob suggested. With solid evidence in hand, Bob and I decided to file a police report. Bob decided to get divorced from Michelle. After that, charges of theft concerning my belongings and embezzlement in the course of her duties were brought against Michelle. She was eventually arrested, and we were satisfied with the outcome. Bob's Cave hired part-time workers, and sales began to rise steadily. By the way, I was given the opportunity to become the part-time team leader there. Michelle got arrested, I heard Larry mentioned. It's for the best. I'm better off without someone like her, I replied. Surrounded by hard-working folks makes me much happier now, Bob added. Yes, let's keep up the good work, I agreed. From then on, I started receiving packages left at my door. Of course, many new teddy bears joined my collection. Larry and I even went on trips to collect limited edition teddy bears from various places. And every day is blissful surrounded by all these teddy bears with Larry.